But there is something we have to pay attention to. Always, in designing production plan, if there is a minimum unit that the entity must produce or a contract that the entity must fulfill, we first have to produce that. And then what will be left of the limiting factor, we can then follow the ranking principle and produce in that order. So in the context of this question, we are told that it is the company's policy to produce and sell at least 3,000 units of each product every month. So which means, although this is our ranking rule, we will ignore the ranking rule for now and produce at least 3,000 units of each of the products. When we finish, what will be left of the limiting factor, we will produce it using the ranking order. So, optimal production plan. Company policy, which is at least 3,000 units of each product. So total materials available is 60,000. We produce A and 3,000 units. The hours required, the units material required per unit is 3 for A. B, 3,000 units. We need 2. C, 3,000 units. We need 2. D, 3,000 units. That also we need 3. So 339, 9,000 here. 6,000 here. 6,000 here. 9,000. So when we finish producing the company's policy, what will be left? So materials remaining. That will be 60 minus 9 minus 6 minus 6 minus 9. 30,000. Now, we can produce using the ranking rule for the remaining of each of the products. So, per our ranking, the product with the highest contribution per limiting factor is product C, because it gave us 7. Now, how many units of C are we making? We are making 12,000 units of C. Remember, based on the policy, we've already done 3,000 of the C. So now, the extra unit, and this is based on the ranking policy, ranking principle. So C, remaining units to produce. So we need 12,000 of C. We've done 3 already, so we'll be left with 9,000. C requires 2 kilograms of material. So 9 by 2 is 18,000. We take it out, and we are left with 12,000. So far, we'll make all the units of C. What is the next in the ranking? Product B. So when it comes to B also, how many units in total do we need? We need 6,000. Remember, we've produced 3,000 already, so we are left with 3,000 units. The usage for B is also 2. So 2, 3, that is 6,000. And so we'll be left with 6,000. Okay. Per the ranking, product D is next. What is the demand on D? we need to produce 8,000 units of D. Remember, we've produced 3,000 already, so remaining 5. Now, product D requires 3 kilograms of the material. 3 by 5 will be 15,000, but all we have here is 6,000 of the material available. So it means the units of D to produce will be the remaining material divided by the usage per unit, which is 6,000 divided by 3. And that is going to give us 2,000 units. So it means we will produce 9,000 extra units of the C, 3,000 extra units of B, and 2,000 extra units of what? D for the limited resources. So what is then our overall production plan? So if you look at the production plan, this is how it's going to look like. We bring in the products A, B, and C. The minimum based on the company's policy. Everybody getting 3,000, 3,000. Then the extra, which is based on the ranking we did, was C getting 9,000, D getting 2,000, and B getting 3,000. A didn't get any for the extra. So this is our production plan. So that is the limiting factor analysis. Step 1, identify the limiting factor. Step 2, calculate the contribution per unit of the limiting factor. Step 3, rank. Then you design the production plan. But when designing the production plan, if the entity has a policy to produce a certain number of units of the product, or it is under obligation to supply a certain product to customers, then we have to produce those first from the limiting factor before we come to the ranking principle to produce extra of them based on the limiting factor that will be remaining after those. But what did the question say? It says, advise the company on the profitable production mix. That's what we just did. And ascertain the most optimum profit expectation. Okay. So now we have the production mix. So the optimum profit expectation will be, we're going to bring in the products again like this here. Then we bring in the production plan as per the things we had above here. We are looking at profit, and you're in the marginal costing environment, but you have contribution per unit already from the step 2. So you go pick the contribution per unit for each of the products and multiply that by the production plan. So contribution per unit. So 3,000 by 13, that's 39,000. 6,000 by 11, 66,000. 12,000 by 14, 168,000. 5,000 by 15, 75,000. And so we add it up to get our total contribution. So 75, 168. So 39, 66, 168, 75 will give us 348,000 for the total contribution. We are looking for profit. So we less fixed cost, which was given to us in the question to be 240,000. And that gives us the optimum profit of 108,000. This is limiting factor analysis and how we design the production plan and calculate the optimum profit. Now, in this question, the fixed cost was given generically. However, there are questions where, just like how the variable costs were given per unit, we could have been given the fixed cost per unit as well. Know that fixed cost remains the same irrespective of the output level. So in the calculation of fixed cost under limiting factor analysis, we will use the production unit given in the question, not the production plan that we have calculated, because fixed cost remains the same irrespective of the output level.